Magwe. Tawuna for Magwe Chuela. Chukwi Chue. Gama Kongte Karela. Makomba Makare. Bagatua Timtime.
Four minutes after the hour of 5 p.m. in Ambazonia, here comes your historian to share some facts and some developing issues concerning our nation, Ambazonia. And today, we'll be treating us to a short review of the Bamenda County and where it actually stepped from. We want to thank Mr. John, who not only studied it from the books, but experienced it and is giving us a report and historical facts for us to know where we are coming from. Now, Bamenda is found in the Savannah County. Savannah region, sorry, please. Savannah region of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And remember that the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is made up of 3 zones, namely the Savannah, the Midland Zone, and the Atlantic Zone. And these zones actually form a people that were known as Southern Cameroons. And through the instrumentality of our father, Chief Goji Dinka, uh, whom brought us the name Ambazonia, taking its course and its roots from the Ambas Bay that is found in Victoria. We now started calling ourselves Ambazonia. But this Ambazonia is made up of different people. And from today, I'll be just reading to us. It's going to be a reading of some of the facts that have been put down. And then we shall have excerpts from these seasoned historians who are still alive, who are telling us what they witnessed, what they saw, and not just what a certain white man who came and discovered Africa according to them. Possibly they are the ones who also created the human beings that are living in Africa for them to come and say they have discovered Africa, a country that is existing, and then somebody comes to say he has discovered Africa. How does it sound to you? You know, come and discover a place where people are living and start telling stories. Well, we want the Ambazonian people, who are a different people as far as Africa is concerned. These are people who will not just sit down and cram things, but they know their origin, and they know exactly where they are coming from, because even though the white folks came to kind of grab our land to make a merchandise for themselves, yet we were not left to behave like some other people who allow the white man to think for them. The biggest persecution that the Ambazonian people have is as a result of their not just sitting down to allow other human beings to think for them, but they think for themselves. And once you can think for yourself, then you can initiate to do a lot of things. And that's why Ambazonia, it is the hated, and I say most hated nation in Africa. Why do I say so? Well, you will agree with me that there are nations not only out of Africa, but also in Africa that are smaller than Ambazonia in size, in population, in resources, in everything, yet they are called nations. Why is Ambazonia going through such pain, such torture? Well, I want to remind Ambazonians that you are not the first and you are not the last. Other nations that we are enjoying the fruit of their proceeds today went through what Ambazonia is going through. The only difference is that there was no social media at that time to greatly publicize and share what we are sharing and hearing today. But did they go through tough times before they got settled? Yes. Did they have a lot of problems before they actually got to where most of them are today? The answer is a big yes. So, Ambazonians, with this, I want you to know that you are not alone and you are not the first. And I pray that we, or you, the Ambazonian people, you will not be the last. With that said, I would like us to listen again to this wonderful cultural staging of the Ambazonian people, particularly the Bamenda Bamenda Mezam County people. As I said, I'm not just going to be talking out of talking. By the courtesy of Mr. John, who is an elderly statesman, he took the time out of not only his experience, but also from other Ambazonians to write down what I'm going to be reading to you concerning Bamenda today. And so I'll take some time to go little by little so that you can understand where you're coming from. I will be right back. Let's get this part. This is one of the rich cultures of Ambazonia from the Savannah zone, and particularly from Bamenda, Mezam, or Mancon, where we will be getting this brief story. I start the reading right away. In order to understand clearly the way people came into the larger Mezam or Bamenda, one has to be used to what Bamenda was before the independence of 1st of October 1961. We need to be very much used to this before we can understand exactly where Bamenda came from. And it should be remembered that at this critical time, the youths should not rely on getting information from the internet or from Encyclopedia Britannica, etc. Because this encyclopedia or internet rendering has a lot of mixtures and deceptions, most probably authored by some La Republique folks to derail people from the real history and make it look as if what they are saying. I would strongly advise the youths who are at the helm of this revolution that they should not help to push Ambazonia underwater with unconfirmed sources of data, knowledge, and it should be noted that La République du Cameroon had twisted information and data of Ambazonia by paying agents to insert false information, false history in the media and internet to support their narrative that Ambazonia was once part and parcel of their territory, and that they are related in the way of settlements of the adjacent Bamilekes, Fumbans, Doualas, Looms, etc., etc. Now, we should be very, very careful because there are paid agents that update the encyclopedia daily to make sure that La Republique's narrative should sound as if it is the real thing. But we, the indigents of Bamenda, we, the indigents of Savannah region, we, the indigents of Ambazonia, what they were calling West Cameroon, which never was West Cameroon, because they gave that name West Cameroon, because they had a plan, you know. So you have West Cameroon and they have West Province. Can you imagine the tautology of West and West? So if you have West Province and then you come to have West Cameroon, then there was a plan. We were Southern Cameroons, British Southern Cameroons. and northwest Cameroon, like La République, through its foresight French hegemony, were trying to put us to look like. Okay, let's go. Imagine in narrating about the history of how people came to settle in Bamenda and Ambazonia starts with the Bamilekes. Yes, people who settled at the frontiers were once the same, truncated by colonialists. By this does not, but this does not mean that in all cases it should only be the Ambazonians to move from La Republic to Cameroon. The flow of the population could also be vice versa, or the both could have come from the same source but separated en route of the migrations, as you will see from the examples here under mentioned. Before the arrival of the whites, like slave traders, missionaries, like Alfred Seca and Joseph Merrick, and the explorers, Mungo Park, on the continent of Africa, especially the coast of West Africa, in the year 1700s, where Ambazonia is situated, the population was made up of a collection of kingdoms ruled by powerful mfos, fons, head of the chiefdom or fondom. So we see here very, very clearly that before the people who came to claim that they are the ones who discovered Africa, before they came, the God of heaven that created the heavens and the earth had already inserted and put people in the continent of Africa. And part of the people that were put in the continent of Africa are the people from Bamenda, or people from Ambazonia. And these people from Bamenda were already organized in such a way that they had their leadership. They call them the Fons, the Mfus, which today they change it to Fons. And then the head of the chiefdoms and the chiefs who were the head of chiefdoms. But nowadays, when one addresses the head of the village chief, such are revolting that they should be called Fon. So much so that by 1984, Bia had himself enthroned as the Fon of Fons of Bamenda. It was only after the Second World War that kingdoms were brought together and were given false names to be used for colonization. The main kingdoms of Bamenda County were one, peopling from north-south migrations of the kingdoms, the Bantus. But as they moved southwards, they reached Widikum and they met with an impenetrable forest and started a backward movement and are called the Widikum people. Most remain in Muramo and Momo areas. The rest moved northwards, dividing into the two flow lines, one moving through Bali to present geographical Bamenda, that's urban area, the lower Ngemba, and the others, the upper Ngemba. I want you to note this because a wrong narrative can make you think wrongly, behave wrongly, and end up in a wrong place. And so our history is very, very important so that I can keep you abreast of what is going on. Lower Ngemba, Mankon, that gave birth to Chomba, Nsongwa, and Batu sub-kingdoms. The Upper Ngemba and others, the Upper Ngemba moving from Guzang Fondom through Asong, that's Ashong, in waves to form the Pinyin Kingdom of about 40,000 out of a total Santa County population of 90,000 population, being the most populated royal accumulation in all of the Upper Gemba, as one branches at Matazin from Bunda to the left. They have suffered most in the genocide by losing 45 youths in one afternoon in the hands of enablers. Awin and Akum sub-kingdoms, and more recently Alatani. These are the aborigines of Santa. The Lord of killings in Pinyin is to nip them in the bud because they had been the most active along the very long frontier, and most of the enablers now are making sure to continue impeding them from activities. Yeah, because of their fighting spirit and their resistance, La Republique has infiltrated these our people with a lot to inflict punishment and make sure that they are not fighting. Some months ago, in the social media, one of the criminals who went to the oppressor's office called gendarme to surrender was noted to have killed a lot of young people who thought that this fellow was standing to fight to make sure that Ambazonia has its liberty in this 21st century as it was before the invasion and before the 1961 episode. Now, this fellow was identified as a Francophone, or one of the 11 province guys who disguised himself and came into our midst. Ambazonia presently is fighting a very complex war because after integration of so many of the, call them in the language that Ahijo called them Makizas, infiltrated and came over to our nation. We opened our doors, received these people with the typical hospitality of the Bamenda man, meaning the hospitality of the Ambazonian man, Southern Cameroon. Southern Cameroon was a block. We didn't know North and South. But these infiltrators, in order to finish us, of which they cannot, because we are a people called by God, planted in that land by God, blessed by God, and all these infidels, when they saw the godly attitude and character in us, they decided that they were not only going to usurp our property, but they were going to kill us before taking the property. And so they use all these proxies, many of them whose origins in Ambazonia are very doubtful. And we have discovered that if not of God, I'm telling you, we will be in a very serious situation. And so we thank you, especially all of you who are on board learning this history. I see my boss is right here. Welcome, boss. So please share and invite many other people to come and know exactly where you are coming from. And as you share, call the other people, let them share. Because when you know exactly where you're coming from, La Republique will not use you as an instrument to distort the history and to give it some kind of relevance. Yes, because when they hear us calling and calling their names, they are like, oh yeah, we are winning. But excuse me, La Republique is not winning anything. No, they are not winning because they don't and will not in any way have what is ours. Yes, because ours is ours. So please help me get the other Amazonians, those of you who can watch on the Facebook, go to Facebook. Those on satellite, go ahead, are back at home. And those on YouTube, please do the same so that we can be very much acquainted with our history and no devil anywhere will be able to infiltrate us. So that when the infiltrators are coming, they will meet with the rock. They already know that these people know exactly where they are standing and what they are facing. And of course, they'll have only one thing to do, to naturally disappear. Once again, I want to pay tribute, well, not tribute for death, but I want to thank appreciation to Mr. John, who actually sat down and sent us this history. Who is Mr. John? Well, I will stop there. La Republic should go and look for Mr. John because that is their duty. The next thing they want to do is to finish with Mr. John, but they will never know him because I will never reveal who Mr. John is. All right, La Republic, I give you an assignment to go and find Mr. John, but there's nothing you can do about it. Let's get back into our archives and get out these our brethren who have this very rich cultural stand, and then let's enjoy some of the cultural activities that they have for us from Savannah Zone. Let's go. That is what I am talking about. Yes, that is what I am talking about. The history of the people of Mezam County in Ambazonia in the Savannah region. Now, let's go to our notes. IG note as a security note. Note when PM Diongute, our Ambazonian son, who is a slave boy to La République du Cameroon, was to go to Bamenda, they were the ones who disrupted the smooth function of the occasion. Others in Opangemba, that is talking about the people of the Opangemba, who stand and stood at the frontiers to stand and defeat the people of our beloved nation, county, and LGA, Mancon. Others in the Opangemba, smaller family groups who migrated recently from 1926 include AMBA or Bafukum, welcomed by the Pinyin Fondom from Ngiembu in Bengui in 1926. B. Baligam, welcomed by Awing from Balikumbat in 1930. C. Njong, welcomed by Awing from Mancon in 1922. D. Santa Mbu, welcomed by Pinyin in 1926. Honorable Shamufo's family, claiming to be Mefibe village, under architect Fonjindam, languishing in New Bell prisons for fabricating the floating bridge over the Mongo in 2004, and proposing to build the Victoria seaport with his own funds when he was the director of Chantier Naval in Douala. That disappeared when he was imprisoned for life. They had separated from Santambu under the Honorable PM Achidiachu. Now, this is the history, and we should know when we tell an average Ambazonian, whether you are in the fight or not, that the genocide that is going on in Ambazonia does not have any class of distinction, because the plan of La Republique is not for some particular people. The plan of La Republique is actually for anybody that is an Ambazonian and is getting ready to do good for Ambazonia. Remember, I told you that if not of these wicked, demonic, instigated, and alien human beings, called human beings, aliens, who are so wicked in white skins, Ambazonia would have beaten those European countries that we are rushing to, that people are rushing to, hands down, because they have everything natural. Sometimes I'm tempted to say that the Garden of Eden was in Ambazonia. That's just my temptation when I read of what happened and what is going on, because the riches of Ambazonia has made the whole world confused, especially the European nations that are feeding from Africa. They have stayed mute and silent concerning, very silent concerning the Ambazonian situation. Why? Because they know and they understand that the Ambazonian is the how do you call it? The cartridge point. When you have a gun, that trigger that you shoot at the bullets, that is exactly where Ambazonia is. And because of that, a lot is accumulated under the soil of Ambazonia. And these wicked beings, instead of entering into partnership with us, they decided that they were going to hack us. And because we did not behave like the other African nations, that France came in, deceived them, signed some agreements and pact with them that today has kept them in perpetual poverty and kept them under France, which they are actually not called countries. They are called overseas territories in the French appellation. Overseas territories simply means that they are under the rulership, direction, control, authority of France. And that's why once you come out to be a genuine fighting for a free African nation, they target you and eliminate you, as they have done to so many other people. Well, they have done that to Ambazonia before. Where is Ngomjoa and some of the illustrious sons of Ambazonia? This is Fonjinam we are just talking about. Where is Chief Inoni? Once you don't dance to the tune of France, they eliminate you. Where is Mbanda? Where is Loyasama? Where is Kemenge? Where are all these people? Where is Colonel Eyong, who was murdered in my presence under very funny circumstances? with these wicked human beings. Where is General, how do you call him? Tumenta. Most of these people were taken out of the way by La République du Cameroon because they know and they knew that if their wicked devices comes to light, some of these people may stand up, since they were no-nonsense people. They were not to be bought over like some of the ones that you know, because I don't want to promote some of those people who have been bought over and they have sold Ambazonia for 30 pieces of gold, which they will not even enjoy because they are gone. Some of them are gone. Yes, but the ones that stood, they eliminated them. So Ambazonians, it's good for you to know exactly where you are coming from and your rich culture and your God-given senses of initiation. That means you can initiate and create with your intellect. You can do a lot of things. These people who have sold themselves to the devil, who only deceives and cannot allow you to think for yourself, they have done the worst that they can do. And so I'm here to tell you, like my senior brother and elderly statesman, John, has taken time to send us this article. I go ahead to read the article, but before I read the article, I am so very concerned and so happy with our cultural setting. Let's get back to the house, please, into the studio and get another sound from the rich cultural setting of the people of Bamenda, Meza, Mancon, and above all, the people of Ambazonia, because we all make up one nation. Let's go. Ande. That is our culture. That's what we are talking about. So, Ambazonians, let's get back to what our brother, senior citizen of Ambazonia has dropped down to us. Santa Central, Santa means a long hill that is not traversed by a stream. That is starting from Matazin as one moves to Bamenda, right to mile 10 below the GTHS Santa, where the road branches to Awing on the right. This was a hunting ground for the kingdoms of Pinyin on the left, the kingdom of Awing on the right, and the kingdom of Akum, Bagangu on the right, starting from mile 10, moving to Bamenda. The population of Santa Town is made up of those refugees of the Maquisards War of the 1959-1960s in La République du Cameroon. Most of them have two compounds, both across Matazin in Babaju and in Santa, and you should judge their position in this restoration quest. So, as we are telling you, the struggle for our restoration and for our statehood is very, very complex. Complex in the sense that these Maquisards who got into our land as a result of Ahijo and France not wanting them to have the independence that they were fighting for, because France had a plan, we opened our doors and they came in. We welcomed them. I'm sure that an average Ambazonia should know that our hospitality, even though it looks like it was a mistake we made, but I want to tell you that at the end of the day, God will take the glory, because Ambazonia has actually and completely handed over to God Almighty. Yeah, so let's go. Most of them, as we said, have two compounds. Yeah, the Tikari kingdoms, these migrated from the Futo-Jalon Hills in West Africa and migrated to the present areas, including others in the French La République du Cameroun. The fallacy propagated by La République du Cameroun that some migrated from Bamileke nearby is falsified information. It's not true. These include the greater part of the Bafut Kingdom. Mambo is Widikum, with sub-kingdoms like Mundum, Bambui, Bamili, that's Bambili, Nkwen, and Mendankwe. The Bamenda urban agglomeration will soon link these kingdoms together. You see, as Bamenda is growing, if we were allowed to grow, we will soon merge into all these kingdoms, and there will be no real difference with the Bamenda municipality. But then these fondoms and kingdoms do exist, and we do recognize them, and that is who we are. So for any falsified information that is put there in the internet, to take away our rich culture, is a fallacy that I will not accept. And because we will not accept that falsification, that's why we are going ahead to make sure that we share with you this very important history of the Amba land. And I remember we are just talking about one zone. Now, we call them zones just for purpose of administration. Yes, but then Ambazonia is one country, and because of leadership purposes, the country has been subdivided into zones so as to ease the leadership to administer and minister to everybody. And that's why we are in this particular issue. All right, let's go. Now, let's come down to Bali. Is a special Tikari kingdom since they migrated from the Tikari source together but separated along the way. One part remained in the Cameroon, that is with the German Cameroon. They welcomed the Bago to settle amongst them. The cattle rearer, Bororos, quite a scanty nomadic family that is found scattered predominantly in the Upper Gemba, Santa County. They are presently prone to farmer-grazier disputes, used by the enemy to divide Ambazonia and to subjugate and enslave them. Bu or Bafuchu, this is the village of Prime Minister Achidiachu, migrated from Ngembu from 1926 to give birth to Baba One, Nifrundi's village. They both settled on each slope of the hill as one branches from mile 8 Bamenda, In short, let me, as an elder who saw the light since World War II, tell one that one has lived in the Bamenda County for quite some time. So, verbal history from an elder is more authentic, and especially from one from such an area resident in that county and feeling the full blunt of the Restoration War. That is, he's saying that he is from this area who has resident in this area since World War II, which was in the 1939s to the 1940s. So, as I told you, he's quite an elderly statesman. And he is talking not only from reading history, but he's an eyewitness, an ear witness, and a verbal listener to those who were there before him. So he now decided to pen this down to let us know that, this verbal history is more authentic than the polluted write-ups that paid agents have gone into the encyclopedias to write and deceive us and paint a narrative that La République du Cameroon is from us, or that the Bamile case have anything to do with us. And there should be no sentimentality in the people's birthright. It is best to distinguish the urban area named after their river, Meza. One crosses before branching to the Bamenda Airport, now a military headquarters for La République du Cameroon. Can you imagine that? Let's go. The editorial on Bamenda was centered on the CBD, Center Business District. Central Business District. And that is what the editorial was talking about Bamile case. Information abstracted from the internet, in fact, it is risky to promulgate facts that are glaringly wrong. The population of the whole county is definitely more than 3 million. The population is definitely more than 3 million. Those 8 million people publicized are data of 1961 for Ambazonia and are meant to let the world see how we are so small. So what he's saying is everything that is being said in the internet to kind of cajole the world to see that we are not even really fit to exist, and that we are just a handful of people that are not to be reckoned with, of which is not true. That is not true. And because it's not true, it is not true, we have to immediately debunk and tell the truth to the people of the world, as well as to Ambazonians. Even the map is not always drawn to scale to future show that Ambazonia is just a dot. They draw our map to show that Ambazonia is just a dot. Imagine the population has been increasing at geometric progression since 1961. Or just consider your own larger family increase for a century with improved medical care and feeding. The population of Ambazonia of 8 million of the 1976 census should be more than double in the 2030s. So Ambazonia has a lot, and with Bamenda in the center, we see a lot that we're supposed to know, and a lot that is talking about where we are coming from and where we are going. Now, in the few minutes that we have before us, I'm going to finish this article, and I'll plead with uh, our elder brother to send in more of this so that I can read it for the people of Bamenda. Whenever we talk of Bamenda now, it is generally considered the whole of Savannah County, because that's the headquarters of the Savannah region. Now, let's get over to some cultural background, some cultures, and see and enjoy this very rich culture from that area. I am glad I am an Ambazonian. I am glad I'm from the Savannah zone. I am glad I am from my county. Let's go. Enjoy this piece from my country. Thank you. That is one of our rich cultural languages in Ambazonia, and we are asking God to help us to let us chase out all these intruders like other nations have done, and they are now enjoying the peaceful atmosphere of their lands. But let me tell you, Ambazonians, with all this, God is watching. All right, let me conclude by talking a little bit to you about the tourism of the Savannah region, Mancon, Bamenda, Mezam County. The cultural outlook of the whole grassland Ambazonia is an attractive force for tourists, not to talk of the picturesque Bamenda Highlands, with cliffs that are sites for clean hydroelectric energy, lakes like the crater lakes of Awing and the Bambui that are focal points of attraction for tourists, surrounded by the Ngemba Reserve Forest that is presently being deforested by the enemy, La Republic of Cameroon, under the watchful eyes of the enablers, who are claiming to be Ambazonians but were actually immigrants. The Mount Lefo that overlooks the Santa town with its sloping plains of the defunct Santa Coffee Estate is worth taking note of. Subsoil and agricultural riches. The cultivation of the Arabica coffee was a great source of revenue for the population, but this source has been smitten by the enemy's plan to perpetually keep the population in abject poverty in order to facilitate their dominion and control over the Ambazonian people. The subsoil is very rich, and the enemy knows about that and is waiting to fully occupy the territory before embarking on the exploitation. But we will not allow them to do that. One can recall a Mount Jumingnu Pinyin that has minerals that spark in the night, as if positive and negative terminals of a battery have a contact. Now, agriculture is turned towards feeding the La Republique towns and population, by extension, Gabon, other La Republique wholesalers. So, market gardening is very important in Upper Gemba at large. Apart from cattle rearing by all, there is domestic rearing of birds and small cattle like pigs, goats, sheep, etc., that are sold on weekly markets. Generally, Bamenda, Mezam County, is a commercial port for the Savannah zone and for Ambazonia. Now, dear friends, it is at this juncture and at this point that I will stop here for the Bamenda report view, historical fact. As the days go by, I will be coming back to you with more. But for today, let's call it a done deed. So our line is open. Before we close down, we have a few more minutes. If you are there, you listen to us, you have a concern, you have something to say, as we get this musical pause before I say my final words, I'm waiting to hearing from you as you call. Thank you very much, and God bless the rich cultural people of the Savannah County of Ambazonia.
I just want to contribute a bit, and I listen to. You see, it is not good for people who just come and say something. Let's finish before we come back to the history of, because there is a lot of mistake in that history as I listen, but that is not the point for now. Because in Bamenda is a general name given to people from the grass field. And then Widikum tribe, Widikum involved Mancon, Benin, and that is why you ask others. What I learned, ask others. They had what they called Bamenda Widikum Council in those days, headquarters in Bangui. However, that is not important for now. What hello, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. We are here. The Ambazonian people are listening to you,
yes,
sir.
I've told you our problem is not because of these people. It is Britain who handed us over to these people. Why are we dodging from it? You had a documentary from the British man telling you from that documentary, you said that the British man did everything. Even our father is there with you, Ambassador Foster, who came and also said Britain did not allow us to sit in that committee of where they came out with resolution 1608. Why are we believing Britain is evil? Yesterday, I was listening. I listened to the mobile. They're calling Muna a traitor. That is very bad. To we, it's not Pamuna is not related to me, but we should appreciate what our fathers did. For us to come today and begin to give them name or call and say we made a mistake, there was no mistake, sir. If you were forced to go somewhere, was that a mistake on your side?
No.
Yes, we were forced. How do you come out and call Mona? Because he accepted appointment. Before that happened, the damage had been done. Britain handed us over to gave us to the Republic following the back door arrangement. The Union Jack was handed over to Ahijo.
Yeah, we have been saying that. We have been saying that, sir. Sir, we have been saying that, except you have not been listening to us. We have been saying that and saying that.
No,
should that only be the only history?
I'm coming to that. Listen what you're saying today.
No, I'm not talking today.
These people, no, that is not. If we had our independence, hear my point, sir.
Yes, sir.
If we had our independence, these problems would have not been there.
That's correct.
Yes, if we had our independence, and even if Britain come today and correct the mistake or UN, these problems will not be there.
Yes.
Do we agree with that?
Very well, 100%.
Okay. Now, there is one thing I want us to know. We should appreciate our father. We thank them because these were intellectuals. When they got to Fuman, and they noticed that those who were matter. In fact, I was nothing, but I happened to would have I heard this thing. These people pretended as if they were, they pretended as they knew nothing because when they got to Fumban, the whole place was militarized with the French troops. And I said, here, I was not there. They were advised to be careful. So they took to that advice. They didn't commit Ambazonia. After that, when they went home, Ahijo appointed Pafoncha vice president and appointed Muna federal minister of transport.
Yeah.
At that time, there were 4 people that Ahijo knew very well. There were others. That is Endeli.
Hello, sir.
Pafoncha.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Let me cut you here. Please just be patient with me. We are entering into another person's time on the ABC now. Could you please get ready tomorrow?
The government of Amazonia should avoid people coming to call our fathers that this no.
Yeah, can we?
It's very bad. They did not commit us anywhere.
Okay, can we?
Song is there. They could allow him to come and talk to us.
Okay, can we?
Advise Song to come and tell us all this thing, calling, addressing our fathers. Meanwhile, there's no commitment anywhere to show that any of them committed us. It's not good, sir. I'm not happy with that.
Okay, sir.
Yes, it's not good.
In the next episode on our AMBA history, I would like you to come in and share some of your thoughts with us. But for now, let's call it quit because I've actually gotten into another program that is coming up on ABC. You know, this airtime. So thank you very much for that concern and that corriginum. We will make sure that we'll take to it.
I just wanted, yes, I accept what you say. I just want us to realize that each time we should not be talking about this. People, they suffered.
Okay, sir.
But for some reason, let him come and tell us something because he was with them.
Okay, sir. All right. Well,
thank you so much.
Yes, sir. This is our one of our elderly statesmen from home front, who is listening very keenly to what we are saying and has some dots to put on our history. Please remember that a lot of people like myself, we come up here and we just say what was handed down to us as of the things that we just insinuate, but we would like to put the best appellation to what has happened in the past. While we come to the end of our program now, and let's get into another program. God bless the people of Amazonia. Thank you.